Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. CitizenCon has given us a load of updates to the focused priorities and pillars of the sort of persistent universe, what CIG are working on for completion over the next year, and there was a lot of surprise announcements and updates to what we're going to be seeing over the next 12 months or so, basically expanding out a roadmap for completion of some of the major features of the game. So let's take a look at what surprises that they had for 3.8, for the end of the year, for 2020 throughout there, and really looking at a roadmap to Star Citizen being a real game or going towards being an actual MMO. My voice is still a little bit raspy from being at CitizenCon, so I do apologise if I sound a little bit odd. So SOCS, server-side object container streaming version 1, was confirmed for Alpha 3.8, so the end of this year. The gameplay demo they showed at CitizenCon was running it as well. With this release, they're going to be able to stand by areas on a server if no players are there, and it's going to be able to remember what data was in that area and load it back in when a player goes there. But in this first release again, they are unable to save data across sessions, so it can't hand it over to another server or save it if the server crashes or restarts. Later, the iCache that they've been developing will be able to save data of even small objects between sessions and servers. So all of that data of dynamic objects is going to be saved. So you could potentially hide a multi-tool under a rock on a random planet and get it a few days later. Items will have a level of importance before they degrade or get removed by the server as well, though. Shell casings, trash, shrapnel, they are obvious things that the server might not want to save so much and might want to clean up, especially if there's a load of shell casings in an area that goes, well, there's already loads of those here. No need to have more of them. They are going to be experimenting with adding more players to instances around this time as well, but they don't know to what extent SOCS will allow them to reach higher player caps, and it's going to require them to do a bit of investigation and testing. In the midterm, we could see more players in each server before server meshing version 1, and we'll come to exactly what's going on with that in a second. Platform persistence is also now planned for 3.8. This is a step towards one of the main things that makes Star Citizen an MMO. From 3.8 onwards, so starting fresh from 3.8, Alpha UEC, items and ships purchased on your account in-game will now persist on your account between minor and hopefully major patches. They do reserve the right to do resets if they need to, and when they switch the game over to live persistence in the future, but this should now see less resets at the very least, and makes it much more viable for players to enjoy grinding a bit more and actually earn some of those larger ships to have on your account when you actually buy stuff in-game. When you've just got a starter package, you can start actually earning ships in-game and using them and not have to keep on restarting every time there is a new patch. This is absolutely awesome, and probably one of the best things to come out of CitizenCon, knowing it's actually in 3.8. I did suspect it was, but it's great to know that it is. Planetary Tech V4 is also there in 3.8. Now, they've had to redo a load of the planets and moons for this tech as well. Well, redo is probably a bit too strong. They've updated all the planets and moons for it as well now, and I'm looking forward to seeing them all in 3.8. It allows for much higher quality assets, textures and data to be shown on planets and moons without the popping of assets in and out. A significantly sort of smoother set of LOD, level of detail changes. It also has effects and resource usage improvements as well, large scale shadows and more. Microtech did look really fantastic. You're going to start to see planets ready to come together and have good frame rates and be a lot more scalable, have like this dynamic weather and all this sort of stuff all bundled here. At least Planetary Tech supports that. And in 3.8, we will see the exterior of New Babbage and the planet of Microtech. And then in 3.9, we should be seeing the interior of New Babbage, the landing zone there, as well as all of the moons of Microtech too. Now, better social and group gameplay is still a major focus for them. They want to get the VoIP and FOIP into a consistently working state, but also a very easy to use, very diegetic, very sort of like interactive experience that people just like to use. No bugs. They want to get rid of the bugs for social gameplay effectively. And there are improvements planned for 3.8, 3.9 and beyond with that. There's going to be more robust mission gameplay from 3.8 as well. They are introducing more AI into missions, so rescuing hostages on an 890 jump, AI participating in missions not just as enemies, them be able to move between ships, call in reinforcements, all that sort of stuff is coming in the future, and they've been working on various multi-part missions for 3.9, so Q1 2020 onwards, we should start to see that. The mission from the CitizenCon gameplay demo is one of these multi-part missions that you could have AI assisting you, as well as a group of players on various tasks working towards a mission together. They're going to have loads and lots of different elements, then you can complete them in different ways, and they're going to be scaled based on their rewards. Lots of stuff going on with them. They've added the Argo Mole, a multi-crew mining ship, straight to flyable for Alpha 3.8 as well. We should see some more details of that later in the week with the Anniversary Expo. Some of the 3.8 ships have been split up for later release as well, so they are still in the 3.8 branch, but there's going to sort of like be a spreading out of them. So the Cutlass Red is planned for January, the Carrack is planned for February, and the Prowler is planned for March, all in 2020 now, so still part of 3.8. It is disappointing, especially with the Carrack. Very excited for the Carrack. The new Theatres of War gameplay mode is planned to go to either Kati and PTU as soon as possible. Expect to see this playable in some state in early 2020. Mid-2020 is when they want to have full persistence in-game. That's having dynamic item data saved between the servers and sessions on the iCache. They want to prevent abuse and not have players stack thousands of turtles, for example, in one place, though, or block doorways with lots of random stuff that doesn't despawn. The location in question will be important for when items get cleaned up, it seems, as well. If you are at a busy landing zone, for example, assume an NPC janitor might clean up some of the stuff that you drop on the floor, at least after a while. But in the future, when you create your own base somewhere, you're going to be able to place turtles around, maybe not thousands, but you'll be able to go reasonably crazy, and that sort of stuff. You'll be able to sort of customize it with lots of flair and put items around, and probably have your trash persistent there for quite a while if you don't clean it. Full persistence is needed for the sort of like resources and the way they want to do loot and that sort of stuff in-game. So resources, minables, that sort of stuff are going to be finite to quite a lot of extent, and we will talk about that in a bit more detail with the Tony Zorovic and sort of like economy simulation panel in the future. I need to rewatch that panel 3 or 4 times to really understand it and be able to put it into a summarized fashion. They are pushing for server meshing after getting full persistence in game. Chris thinks they will be close to implementation of server meshing at the end of 2020. I apologize, my voice is going in. They are currently working on the network side needed for server meshing now. Server meshing will allow for the game to start becoming a true MMO. Even at this sort of stage of server meshing, when they implement it, it'll be static server meshing, so not the full dynamic model that they want, but this is going to potentially allow hundreds, if not thousands of players to play on the same server, and for everyone to be able to interact with each other without restrictions of having to log into like closed 50-player sessions. So very exciting stuff there. And then after that, probably, I don't know how long it's going to be after that, they'll talk about dynamic server meshing, which is the evolution and optimization of server meshing. Beyond just having static servers for each of these areas, they literally will be able to spin up an area for a server. They'll be able to go, well, there's 30 players in this room. Well, we'll have this room and this building all covered by one server, but then another 500 players go into this one building. They can have a server literally just covering this one building or this one room, and they will spin that up and down dynamically. But we will probably know more about that at next year's CitizenCon. Beyond this, they want Star Citizen's persistent universe to be as playable as possible. They have some teams that sort of like tweak, refine, and improve various aspects of the game, from cockpit and vehicle experiences to interaction with ships, and just try and refine, clean out the bugs, quality of life stuff. They're working towards more gameplay loops, more content, more areas, salvage gameplay, Orison and Crusader, the gas sort of giant tech there. They are looking to expand out star systems in-game as well. They showed a jump point and a relatively empty pyro system as you came out of that jump point, and there are effectively jump gates on the sort of like more stable jump points. They plan to have jump points and a new system, the pyro system, in-game in 2020 as well. The jump points are very interesting. They take a couple of minutes to traverse, it seems, and you're sort of like being pushed down a stream or rapids, and you have to lightly steer your ship with the currents to avoid any obstacles Otherwise, you could risk damage or something really bad happening, like being kicked out in the middle of dead space, effectively. It's at the very least tactile. You're not going to be able to go AFK while you're traveling around and jumping like you could potentially in EVE Online, unless you have someone else piloting for you. The pyro system is also something they showed. It has awesome looking space weather and lightning and different lighting and ambience from its sun. The sun there in the pyro system is supposed to be like unstable and sending out flares, and it's dangerous to travel there. There's a load of planets. It's pretty simple to do as a system, other than that sun that's a bit unique. And it's got a pirate station called Ruin, which should allow for some very, very interesting outlaw gameplay as a system, because it's not a UE system, it's sort of like no man's land. If 2020 brings another system, then awesome. I'm glad that they are trying to push Pyro out, a new system out for 2020. Another big thing that is planned for 2020 is dynamic weather for planets as well, allowing storms to sweep in, and the room system, which basically maps environmental data and sort of like saves environmental information to then map and work out what's happening with dynamic changing weather. In some situations, without the right equipment, this is going to be reasonably fatal to players and will play a big part of exploring and missions and sort of like difficulty in certain areas. I would expect and hope it leads on to other dynamic environmental effects as well. So that would give you reasons to potentially not use ships on a planet because there's like lightning storms which will disable or power down your ship or something, and maybe you want to go on foot or use vehicles, things like that. Talking to devs at the event, they are working on physicalized components, getting the flight model in the right place, general balance, player habs, AI companions, interesting puzzles as part of missions. They've been R&Ding loads of stuff as well, including logic puzzles and interrogation puzzles. Lots of cool stuff going on with that, and I will go through a load of my sort of like interviews with devs and questions I got answered, because it's a big, massive randomness at the moment, which I need to refine. Prison gameplay was something that I'm going to do a big dedicated video on soon. There was a huge amount of info on the locked up panel, which was on the second stage at CitizenCon, and afterwards I talked to Luke Presley at some length, who's going to be implementing a huge amount of this in the game, about prisons and about the prison gameplay. Prisons are planned to premiere in Alpha 3.9, but there is a lot more planned for them after that as well. We had nothing new on Squadron 42 at CitizenCon, at least at this time, but I'll talk about that in my event roundup and summary when I get round to it. But what do you think? Chris was clearly excited that his dream for the game is genuinely coming together at a level of detail that he didn't really expect would be possible. Are you excited for the direction of the persistent universe over the next few months and what 3.8 contains with its new tech? Are you happy that server meshing isn't too far away? Did the delay of ships like the Carrack in 3.8 to February disappoint you? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And if you've got any questions as well, chuck them in there. I apologise for my voice. As soon as it gets a little bit better, I'll be streaming and getting a few more videos out a day, but I'm going to take it easy until my voice has repaired itself. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For November, it's for a Cutlass Black game package and CitizenCon 2948, last year's goodie pack. All you need to do for a chance of winning is comment on any of my videos made during November 2019. More details below. A quick bit of shilling as well. Shadow provide remote access to high-spec gaming PCs as a subscription service, so you don't need to maintain your own gaming PC. You can leverage the power of your internet to turn your phone, tablet, laptop, or home PC into a monster. They are taking pre-orders for their new hardware configurations, scaling for 4K gaming, up to 32 gigs of RAM, and a GeForce Titan RTX, which I am very much looking forward to playing Star Citizen on. Links below, and use the code BoredGamer to get a discount. I also use NordVPN, which I've decided to continue to support, as they appear to have one of the best VPN services currently available at an affordable price. If you're looking for a VPN, consider them. Links below. Thank you so much for watching my video to the end. If you would like to share my video, comment, subscribe, like, all that sort of jazz, ring the bell, that all helps content creators. Also, if you want to further support the channel even more, there's Patreon, there's direct donation, there's the YouTube join button as well, which gives you access to some more sort of like exclusive content from me. Thank you very much for watching. You take care, and I'll see you in the verse.